For the first time in over a decade, Battlefield feels like Battlefield again. After the confusion of 2042 and years of identity drift, Battlefield 6 arrives as a course correction, not a reinvention. It is a grounded modern warfare sandbox that remembers what made this series iconic in the first place: scale, spectacle, and a sense of shared chaos that no other shooter can replicate. I have 100% completed Battlefield 6 single-player campaign and spent dozens of hours in multiplayer, testing every class, map, and weapon configuration. After experiencing everything the game currently has to offer, I can say with confidence that Battlefield Studios, now uniting DICE, Criterion, Ripple Effect, and Motive under one roof, has delivered a cleaner and more confident game that finally gets back to its fundamentals. It's not perfect. The campaign stumbles, the open weapon system muddies class identity, and some maps still frustrate. But for once, the conversation around a Battlefield launch is not about what is broken, it's about how it feels to play. If you enjoy deep dive 100% completion reviews, please like, subscribe, and share. It really helps the channel grow, and I appreciate every bit of support. Now, let's get nerdy. Battlefield 6 is set in the near future, where the NATO alliance is collapsing and a private military corporation known as Pax Armata has risen to fill that void. The conflict spans across the ruins of New York, the deserts of Gibraltar, and industrial sprawl of Sobek City. It is a visually striking world, heavy on grit and debris, where every bullet and explosion leaves a mark. The Frostbite engine has never looked sharper. Buildings crumble in real time, dust and smoke linger after an explosion, jets tear through cloud cover as sunlight scatters across the skyline. It is cinematic, but not stylized. There is an authenticity to the chaos that brings the fiction to life, even when the story really doesn't. This is not the futuristic tech of 2042, or the historical sweep of Battlefield 1. It is contemporary warfare stripped of gimmicks and grounded in raw material and metal. It feels tactile again. Every environment is a living, destructible space that reacts to your presence. It is Battlefield returning to the stage it built for itself. Mechanically, Battlefield 6 is a return to clarity. The four classic classes are back: Assault, Engineer, Support, and Recon, each tied to their traditional roles and gadgets. The controversial Specialist system is gone. Instead, each class offers passive perks and a set of signature weapons, which subtly encourage players to fill their intended roles. Movement is smoother and more responsive than ever before. You can now sprint while crouched, lean around corners, and drag fallen teammates to cover. None of these mechanics reinvent the game, but together they restore a sense of control that was missed in the last generation. Weapon handling feels excellent. Every firearm has weight and texture. Every recoil pattern tells a story. The kinetic combat system may sound like marketing fluff, but it really does deliver. Gunplay feels grounded and physical, supported by some of the best audio design in the industry. The metallic clink of a reload, the crack of a distant rifle fire, the collapsing echo of concrete walls. It all sells the illusion of a living battlefield. The campaign aims for cinematic intensity but lands somewhere closer to functional familiarity. You play as a member of Dagger 13, an elite marine unit caught in geopolitical collapse engineered by Pax Armata. The premise has potential, but the story rarely builds on it. Missions unfold as a greatest hit compilation of shooter cliches: breach and clear, hold the line, escort the convoy, sniping under moonlight. There are moments of spectacle that briefly capture the old magic: a tank battle through the streets of Gibraltar, a helicopter chase over New York, a desperate final stand in the desert. Yet between these highlights, the pacing stumbles. The AI is erratic, scripting breaks often, and emotional beats land without any weight. The campaign's best feature is its integration of multiplayer mechanics. Squad revives, class abilities, and destructible environments carry over, adding a layer of tactical variety. But it never feels essential. Once the credits roll, the single player disappears from memory, leaving only multiplayer to define the experience. This is where Battlefield 6 earns its reputation. The multiplayer is fast, brutal, and deeply satisfying. Conquests and breakthrough remain the series' backbone. delivering 64 player battles that balance chaos with control. Rush makes a welcome return alongside a new mode called Escalation that condenses conquest into a shifting tug-of-war for map control. Maps are varied, though the launch selection leans heavily towards urban combat. Liberation Peak, Sobek City, and Manhattan Bridge capture the intensity of close-quarter firefights, while Operation Firestorm and Mirak Valley remind you that scale is still Battlefield's greatest weapon. Destruction once again defines the rhythm of play. Buildings collapse, bridges crumble, and every explosion changes the flow of combat. Vehicles remain a focal point, from tanks and helicopters to smaller transports, each contributing to the push and pull of large-scale warfare. Gunplay and movement are the best they've been since Battlefield 4. Sliding around corners is risky but fluid, recoil feels authentic without being punishing, and the time to kill is fast but fair, making every round survived and every enemy life taken feel earned. The one disappointment is the open weapon system. Allowing any class to use any weapon adds flexibility, but it does blur the lines that once gave Battlefield its personality. Class bonuses help offset this, yet the system still feels like a compromise between design philosophy and player convenience. Despite that, Battlefield 6 multiplayer is the most complete and confident the series has been in a decade. It captures what players loved about Battlefield 3 and 4 while modernizing the experience for a new generation. It's the best of the old and the new, rebuilt with restraint and purpose. 100% completing Battlefield 6 is not a sprint. It's a campaign of endurance and attention, a long study of systems that only reveal themselves after dozens of hours of repetition. Unlike a story-driven game where completion means uncovering secrets or resolving character arcs, here it means surviving the grind itself. There are 53 achievements in total, divided across the campaign, multiplayer, and battle royale or gauntlet modes. The campaign is the easy part, 9 missions, a handful of collectibles, and a few difficulty-based achievements. Even on the hardest setting, you can clear everything in roughly 6 hours. It feels more like a warm-up than a true challenge. The real test begins once you've stepped into multiplayer. Battlefield 6's achievements are designed to measure patience, cooperation, and class mastery rather than individual skill. Some of these numbers are symbolic, like reviving 1,996 teammates as a support, or stunning 316 enemies in Gauntlet. Others are pure endurance, like completing 214 missions or playing 125 rounds in Battle Royale. None of these are particularly difficult, but together they form a slow, deliberate march through every system the game has to offer. The class-based achievements are where Battlefield 6 design shines. The requirement to repair 2,042 points of vehicle damage as an engineer, revive hundreds of players as support, or capture 128 objectives in Conquest forces you to engage with every layer of the game's sandbox. These are not just isolated grinds, they are lessons in how the ecosystem works. To 100% this game is to understand its rhythm, from the chaos of all-out warfare to the quiet teamwork that happens between spawns. Then there are the destruction-based achievements, and these are the heart of what makes Battlefield unique. Collapsing an overpass on a tank, getting a roadkill, or blowing a helicopter out of the sky are not just tasks on a checklist. They are moments of spectacle that defines why people fall in love with this series. Every one of them tells a story of timing, luck, and cinematic chaos. By contrast, the secret Battle Royale and Gauntlet achievements are endurance trials in disguise. Play 74 matches, win 7 in duos, loot 10 superior items, revive 1,988 teammates. The numbers are arbitrary, but the intent is clear. These are designed to keep you engaged long after the campaign is over, transforming 100% completion into an act of persistence rather than skill. And yet, somewhere in that grind, the game begins to change. You start to play differently. You anticipate rather than react. You read the flow of matches before they happen. You begin to notice how every sound, every reload, and every collapse tells you something about your surroundings. And you no longer chase the next achievement because the process itself has become the reward. This is where Battlefield 6 stands apart from its predecessors. The grind, for all its artificial padding, actually mirrors the experience of war that the game tries to depict. It's not about the glory of victory, it's about showing up, learning the terrain, adapting to the system, and surviving long enough to see the end. Still, completion exposes a few fractures in this design. Allowing every class to use every weapon undermines the meaning of mastery. Signature bonuses do add nuance, but the sense of distinct identity between classes has been diluted. You can still reach 100%, but it feels less definitive. The game rewards adaptability more than dedication, and for some completionists like me, that may lessen the satisfaction. Even so, Battlefield 6's journey to full completion remains one of the most immersive in the series. It teaches patience, rewards persistence, and tests your ability to find purpose with repetition. Every achievement tells a small story, from the moment you drag a teammate through a collapsing building to the final shot that ends a match you have been fighting for 20 minutes straight. If you're going to be hunting for the platinum, then believe this: finishing Battlefield 6 does not feel like beating a game. It will feel like finishing a tour of duty, and at some point you'll stop playing for the rewards and start playing for the rhythm itself. For completionists and longtime fans of the series, Battlefield 6 finally feels like a game worth finishing. Battlefield 6 is not a revolution, but it doesn't need to be. After years of misfires and half measures, this entry succeeds simply by remembering what Battlefield is supposed to feel like. It is loud, chaotic, and spectacular. It gives you stories you'll be telling for weeks, not because of scripted moments, but because of the unpredictability, player-driven collisions that happen in every match. The campaign, while completely built, feels more like a proof of concept than a creative leap. It delivers flashes of spectacle and solid gunplay, but it rarely risks saying or doing anything new. It plays things safe, and in doing so, leaves little behind once the credits roll. Multiplayer is where Battlefield 6 finds its heartbeat again. The pacing, map design, the sound work, combined with the sensory rush that no other military shooter quite matches. There are still balancing quirks and small frustrations, but this is the most confident and complete Battlefield has felt in a decade. It has weight, clarity, and flow. The sense that every skirmish, every explosion, every small victory contributes to a large shared experience. For completionists, this game is an endurance test wrapped in spectacle. It rewards those willing to live in its systems, to learn its pace, to see beauty in repetition. The journey to 100% is not just a checklist of tasks. It's a process of adaptation, reflection, and perseverance. When the final achievement unlocks, it'll feel less like an ending and more like a closing of a chapter, a long, chaotic story you helped write. Battlefield 6 may not reinvent the genre, but it restores faith in what the series can be. It is ambitious without being broken, confident without being arrogant, and cinematic without losing focus on the player. For the first time in years, Battlefield feels whole again. As always, thank you so much for watching. On your way out, please remember to leave me a like, subscribe, comment down below, and share with your friends. Each and every one of those does help out the channel more than you can imagine. But most importantly of all, until next time, stay nerdy.